You don't believe in Santa Claus still, do you? This is what was spoken to me by a kid on the playground after school one day. And I responded, totally dedicated and committed, yes, I do. I still believe Santa Claus exists. And then my parents, one night, they sat me down, and they looked me straight in the eye, and they went, actually, Felicia, Santa Claus doesn't exist. This was just a couple of weeks ago, but, you know, I'm really getting over it and processing. Kidding aside, the 7-year-old that found out that there was no Santa Claus was truly heartbroken. And I felt betrayed. And I was angry. And you know what? It didn't just end there. No. Because it wasn't just that Santa Claus didn't exist. I was going to find out that the Easter Bunny didn't exist, that the Tooth Fairy didn't exist, the Incredible Hulk didn't exist. And why did this matter? Why? Because all of these things that I believed in, that I held so dear, they gave me hope. They gave me hope. And they also created a world of not just make-believe, but they created a world of infinite potential. A world where there is always hope. Tonight, my friends, I want to take you on a journey back to hope. We need this right now, don't we? And I don't want to take us to a world of make-believe, because we're done with that. We're not kids anymore. I want us instead to go to the real world of infinite potential and infinite possibility, a world where there is always hope. Because that's real. That is true for us. Now, some of you might be sitting here, and maybe you're not, but just possibly, some of you may be going, you know, Rev, that's all fine and dandy, you know, but, you know, I don't really see why hope matters, or I don't really believe in hope. What is hope anyway? And, you know, some of the things that Reverend April mentioned, you know, when you have all of this suffering and all of this violence, it's really hard to get into the hope feeling tone. It's really hard to believe in it, isn't it? Isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I understand that. And we allow that to be in the space right now. All of the doubt and all of the, you know, the wondering, the questioning. But for us to move forward on this journey, I would like to challenge you right now. And I would like us all to come into a sacred agreement with one another, to really enter a covenant with each other. And so I'm going to ask you a question, and I would like you to say yes if you feel it, okay? Are you ready? And that is this. Are you willing to entertain the idea that there is a world of infinite potential?
Yes.
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 Are you willing to entertain the idea that there is always hope?
Yes.
You're willing to commit to this right now, just to entertain these ideas, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Wonderful. So let's do it. Let's do this together. So let's go back for a moment. Let's go back for a moment to the 7-year-old. The 7-year-old that I was, that was so heartbroken, so crushed, that felt so betrayed, angry, right? And as I said, it didn't end there. No, and it didn't end just with these childhood icons. As I got older, my beliefs about life, about love, about people, about God, and moreover, myself, my beliefs about myself, all of them got challenged. It was like Nothing, like nothing existed. Like everything that I thought I could hang my hat on, all of it was getting challenged. Do you feel me? Has this happened for you? Yes? It's a human experience? And so, one day, you know, I came up with a plan. I thought, you know, maybe addictive cycles. Yeah. So I didn't really do that, I jest, but I did. Unfortunately, my story is that I embarked on a long 10, 12-year journey of addictive cycles and depression and all of these things. This was how I coped. And down the spiral I went. And about 25 is when everything just sort of hit the fan, and that's when I realized, wow, I'm hopeless. I've lost hope. Have you ever felt like this?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the question today becomes, how do we find hope? How do we find it? How do we get it? And not just the kind of hope where, you know, you have like a few really good days, you know, but we're talking hope with gravitas, hope with force, you know, hope that means something. The world of infinite potential kind of hope. That kind of, there is always hope, where you are resonating and you are basking in it. So this is, it's interesting because I struggled a lot with this part of this talk, which I will be giving in LA this weekend, and so you're getting to hear it first. And I went over and over, y'all, like, how do you find hope? Because I just have tons of hope. You know, I touch the veil so many times, it's like, when you do it that many times, it's like, it's oozing out of my pores. So I thought, okay, what is the best way so they can really, what do I do? How do I become, you know, a channel for this? And then I thought, I got it last night at 3 a.m. Tiananmen Square, June 5th, 1989. Some of you might remember this. There was in the middle of all of this violence, all of this chaos, do you remember there was a man in front of a line of tanks, and he is now known as what? Anybody know?
Tank man.
The Tank Man. The Tank Man. We get hope when we witness someone standing in their truth. We get hope when we see them resolutely standing, no apologies. And they just know it. They just believe. He just believes. Do you think he took any moment to second guess? He just did it. But bags in hand. Pardon me. We get hope when we witness someone in their greatness. This is one of the ways that we get hope, when we witness someone in their greatness. And it's an awesome thing. Think about people right now that you know that are heroes to you, you know, that give you hope. What you're witnessing is them in their greatness, standing in their truth. And it's just majestic, isn't it? It's amazing. And it doesn't have to be, this is, one of the most intense examples. You know, I brought up Stevie Wonder a few sermons ago. When I went to hear him perform, I was moved to tears. You know, here is someone completely in their truth, in their greatness. And I knew I was witnessing greatness. And there's a hope, there's a wellspring of hope that comes from that. But it's not just that we sit and we witness and that's how we get hope. That's good, that's all fine and good, but it's more than that. Because what that does is that is an invitation for us to step into our greatness, to go that much further. So wherever you're at right now in your own truth and however you bring it in life, This is right now an invitation for you to take another step, to really stand in your truth, to really own your greatness. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And so, yes, this is a historical moment for us that we are living through, that we are living in. And so, yes, we can look upon people like the Tank Man and the Dr. Kings and the Gandhis and all of these Nelson Mandelas and the Mother Teresas and the Dorothy Days and on and on. But let us not rest there. No, let us remember that these people are invitations. We are standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
And so let us take this as a big, whopping, giant invitation, hello, to come forward into our greatness. Blessings. But so here's the deal, here's the catch, and that is, how do we really begin to resonate with that? Because I can say this to you, and you might go, okay, well, how am I supposed to connect with my greatness, with my innate greatness? How am I really supposed to do that?
Yeah.
It's so simple, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
You have to remember something, my dear friends, and that is that you are made in pure love. You are made in pure love. You said something, Reverend, something about this. We are all made in this pure love. Even the people that we are just going, my God, they've forgotten themselves, that they could commit such acts of violence. But even them, it's just gotten obscured. They've just forgotten. So you are made in pure love. You remember this. And if you have to write it on a Post-it, on a sticky note, and you have to stick it on your mirror, or you have to have it in your wallet as a reminder, then that's what you do. Over and over, or a mantra, or if you're in your meditation, you keep saying it to yourself. You keep saying, I am made in pure love. I am made in pure love. Because this is what connects you back to your greatness. And then, as I like to say here, and I've been saying this for a long time, you are one of the great ones. You are one of the great ones. Mm-hmm. Just because of who you are. Because you're made of pure love. It's so simple. It's at the same time, it can be so difficult. So, how do we get home? We remember our greatness. We stand in our truth. That's the first thing. And then the second thing. In a sense, I guess what I'm saying to you is you have to know who you are. You remember who you are. So you have to also know, having said that, you have to remember why you're here. So it's not enough to just know who you are and that you're made in pure love and that you're one of the great ones. It's not enough. I'll tell you why. Because many, many years ago, on my 28th birthday, that summer I had been, kind of struggling a little bit, but I knew, I'm in touch with myself, I'm made in pure love. I was getting, struggling with it all, but I kind of knew. And I started, my hope level started waning. My hope started kind of going down. I was struggling, I was having some dark nights of the soul, nothing major, but I'd already been on the healing path for a few years. So one night on my birthday, 20th birthday, I go to Carl's Jr., like you do, or at least like I do, and I've had significantly, unbelievably spiritual moments at fast food restaurants, you guys, so go figure on that. Big box. Oy. So, anyway, I go to this Carl's Jr., it's about 3 a.m., I order my food at the drive-thru, pull around to the window, and there's a man. You all have probably heard this story, but it's worth repeating because it's such an amazing story. So, there's this man, And he appears to be homeless, and he asks me if I have an extra cigarette. I was chain smoking. I was still a really heavy-duty smoker. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, man, I don't have one. Do you want to get high? And I go, I was taken aback. I go, oh no, I'm clean. I don't do that anymore. And everything stops. Time stops. He looks at me and he goes, this is killing me. And tears well up in his eyes, and he goes, you know, I used to be somebody. And I go, you still are. You still are. We start talking more and more, back and forth, and there's this beautiful exchange happening, and the food, of course, it's not coming out. I'm thinking, this is weird, this is like Twilight Zone. Finally, the food does come out, it's time for me to drive on, and I just look at this guy, and I go, just don't give up. There's always hope. There's always hope. So I pulled off. I'm driving down the street, and there was my call. There was my why. That's what I knew. I'm here to speak and write and bring people back to hope. It's one of the things. It's a big thing for me. Just get people to remember, you know? Get people to remember hope. This man, who I thought I would maybe help by saying some spiritual platitude, no, he helped me. He brought me to my call. He gave me my why. So, it's not just about knowing who you are and that you are one of the great ones and you are made in pure love. Pardon me. It is, in fact, about the why as well. You got to know why you're here. And it's going to be different for you and you and you and you and you. It's going to be different for each of you. But the one common denominator that will be left standing in the room with this one is service. We are all here to serve. We're all here to serve. You know, it could be music. It could be being a mother. It could be being an activist. It could be being a social worker. It could be, you know, anything. But you have to find out what your why is. And the wellspring of hope, and the levees, I should say, the levees will break, and hope will flood in. This is the truth for us. It's so simple. You know, in a way, I was making it harder than it was, and then it hit me. You know who you are, and you know why you're here, and then you're on purpose, and then you're on point, and you just know it, and you know these things, and you go, oh my God, for this purpose was I born. And you bring it to everybody you know. You just bring your sacred service, your sacred self to everyone you know. Whew. I've worked on this for a while, can you tell? Yeah. So, my dear friends, when the divine spark that is hope illuminates the night sky, illuminates your night sky, when that comes in, there is something wonderful, and this is what I want to close with and I want to leave you with. When that divine spark comes in, there is something incredible that happens, and that is we, you, I, become curious. Oh. There's a curiosity that is born. This is why hope matters. This is why it's so vital for us to remember hope and to sink our teeth into it, so to speak. Because you go, oh, curious. There's a curiosity. And then from that place, there is a wonder. But it's not the wonder of that 7-year-old, you know, that believed in Santa Claus. No, it's a wonder of, this is interesting. And then from that place, there's an explorative process where you begin to imagine your life, our planet. You begin to imagine it in a different way. And then from that place you create, and you find, like I said, your why. And you figure, okay, this is what I came for. This is what I came to do. This is how I can serve. And you know what all of this leads to? Believing. You come home to believing. So from this divine spark of hope is a very solid belief. He believed. Do you believe? If you need to get there, that's cool. You know, like I said, we have been on a journey. We've been on a journey back to hope. And some days it's going to be like a process, right? You're going to have to just chew on all of this and masticate on all of this. This is a journey. This is your journey. And I invite you to this journey. Because this is necessary for all of us. For each of you, for everybody outside of this room, for this world that we're living in. These are changing times in the world. It is truly calling upon us to have this hope. To have the curiosity, to have the wonderment, to have this explorative process where we're like, oh, I can imagine this. I can create this. This could be my slice in the time that I'm here. I could offer this. And I believe to come back to a place not believing in Santa Claus, but really, I believe. This is my prayer and my blessing for you this night, and I offer it to you from a humble heart.